humanoids, welcome back to my world of stuff. My name is Paul Mount. Apologies for the slightly unkempt look. I'm just chilling through January. Not a lot going on, so I'm not shaving. I'm sure I will when the time comes. At the moment, I'm just relaxing into the new year. Hope everybody's well out there. Hope you're enjoying 2022 so far. Exciting, isn't it? I'm doing today one of my regular, occasional physical media and bits and pieces updates. I think the last one I did was a month ago, so there's quite a few bits and pieces I've gathered up since then, so I'll try to keep this video as short as I possibly can. There's quite a bit to get through. As usual with these videos, there's a lot of physical media, i.e. Blu-rays, DVDs, etc. If you're interested in stuff like that, I'll do them first. You might want to sort of stop watching if you're not interested in the rest of the stuff. But then there'll be books and comics, odds and sods, collectible odds and sods. Because as it says in the title sequence, collectibles, books, toys, all sorts of things. So I'll just run through all the stuff that I picked up in the last month, starting with this little baby. You probably saw it on the edge of frame there. This is one of the Big Chief Studios Doctor Who figures, which have appeared in B&M bargains. Now, B&M, as most of you will know, they do the character options at limited edition sets. I think most recently they've done some Earthshock sets, and they often do sort of Doctors and TARDISes. They're a nice collectible set. I don't buy all of them. This I bought, however, because I thought it was quite unusual. It's quite nice. There's a 10th Doctor and an 11th Doctor. The 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, was a bit more of a caricature. This is more classic, sort of slightly swaggering David Tennant pose in his blue suit with his long brown coat and a spare head, if you want to do him in 3D glass mode from Army of Ghosts. So that's quite a nice little figure. I think they're still available. I think the 10th Doctor ones went fairly quickly, but I think you could probably still find them for 20 quid in B&M bargains. So that was a nice little, I sort of thought that was quite a nice little pickup, really. Yes, right, okay, other things that I've picked up. Physical media, in terms of physical media, Blu-rays and things, quite a few odds and sods I've picked up, some of them with stories to them. The first one is Black Mirror Season 4. Which I picked up, I think, about 5 or 6 quid on Amazon just after Christmas. It's the Charlie Brooker cautionary science fiction story about the possible perils of unchecked scientific advancement. It ran the 2 series on Channel 4, then 3 on Netflix. I think it's finished now. I don't think there's plans for any more. The last series of 3 episodes came out a couple of years back, so I think it's done now. And I think that Charlie Brooker has said that the modern world is too fantastic even for his imagination to keep up with. So this is my favourite series because it has a great rich batch of episodes on it, including USS Callisto, which is a sort of Star Trek inspired story, Archangel, Crocodile, Hang the DJ, Metalhead, one of my favourites. It's not very widely regarded, Metalhead. It's a black and white one with Maxine Peake as a survivor in an apocalypse, being chased by sort of mechanical robot dogs, the sort of things that they have in the War of the Worlds TV series, if you've seen that. And then the slightly longer Black Museum, which finishes off the series with Douglas Hodge. 6 really good episodes. I'm very pleased to get these on Blu-ray. I mean, they're on Netflix. I can watch them whenever I like. But physical media. Next, I picked up, in the Zavi post-Christmas sale, there was some nice deductions on steelbooks and box sets. 50% success rate with my orders with them. I picked up on the Steelbook. It's still there with 10% off, I think. Shawshank Redemption. It is, of course, one of the classic films. Hugely underrated when it was originally released, but has become a staple, really, of any film fan's collection over the years. And I like that in a film that isn't well regarded and suddenly becomes recognised as a bit of a classic in its genre. That's nice when that happens. This is a nice Steelbook edition. On 4K, of course. So, again, I've actually only seen this all the way through once, so this could be a retro movie review at some point in the near future. I also bought from the Zavi sale the Steelbook Indiana Jones box set, which came out last year. It was originally about 70, 80 quid. It was down to about 40, 44 quid in the Zavi sale, but it never arrived. Now, I checked it in their tracking. I had a couple of messages. One, that there was a problem finding my house, which is a bit odd because it's on the main road through a village. Secondly, they tried to re-deliver it and there was no one in, which is nonsense because there's always somebody in. Even if I'm out, there's always somebody here. And then thirdly, we've got it, it's on its way, and that's where it remains. As I've never had it, I contacted Zavi and they have processed a refund, but I just don't know what happened to it. It was clearly around somewhere, but disappeared. So whether it will turn up in about 3 weeks' time, I don't know. But I'm slightly disappointed because that's one that was on my radar to get when it was the right price, and this was the right price. But there we are, wasn't to be. HMV have been doing a post-Christmas sale, as you may well have noticed if you've been there recently. And I picked up a couple of discs from there a couple of weeks ago. I'm hoping to go in again next week or so, see what else is there, if their sale is still on. Two of the films that were very acclaimed last year, which I hadn't got around to seeing. One of them I've already seen, and if you've seen my top 10 list of the year, you'll see that it made that list. This is Promising Young Woman. This is the Blu-ray version. This is the film starring Carey Mulligan, and it's directed by Emerald Fennell. This is a story about toxic masculinity and the female response to it. It's slightly exaggerated. It's slightly sort of pot-boiler, unlikely thriller, but it's very well put together. Superb performance from Carey Mulligan, and quite rightly one of the films of last year. Really enjoyed watching that. This one I haven't watched yet, and I'm going to get around to it at some point. It's called Another Round. Stars Mads Mikkelsen, and this is a foreign language film with subtitles, so don't be put off. But this is about a gang of blokes who just drink a lot, because there's a philosophical theory that we should be born with a small amount of alcohol in our blood, that modest inebriation opens our mind to the world around us, diminishing problems and increasing creativity. Intrigued, Martin, played by Mads Mikkelsen, and three of his friends, all weary high school teachers, embark on a risky experiment to maintain a constant level of intoxication throughout the workday. Initial results are positive, but as the units are knocked back and stakes are raised, it becomes increasingly clear that some bold acts carry severe consequences. It sounds intriguing. It's had very good reviews. A lot of people put it in their top 10 list of the year. Not necessarily the sort of film I would gravitate towards, but I am intrigued to see what all the fuss is about. So this is one I will be watching quite soon, I think. A few charity shop pickups, because there's always charity shops. Oh, before that, this one, I think I mentioned in a previous video, imported this from Germany because there's no sign of it receiving a physical release over here, which is annoying. Again, this was in my top 10 list of the films of last year. Gerard Butler and Morena Baccarin in the disaster movie Greenland. Really enjoyed this. It's a sort of a low-key disaster movie. It's about people, this family, trying to stay together and try to stay alive as the world is under threat. There's spectacle in it, but it's not all about spectacle. It's about humanity and how real people would cope in a situation where the world is about to be destroyed by a comet. Really good film. If you haven't seen it, it's on Amazon Prime, but I just had to get a physical media copy of it, and it was the right price, and I imported it from Amazon Greenland. Amazon Greenland. If only there was such a thing. Amazon Germany. Right, some charity shop pickups. Here we go. Here are three which I picked up at 10 pence each on Friday in a charity shop in Cardiff. It's a series I've never seen, but I'm still laughing at Amazon Greenland, sorry. It's very highly regarded, so I thought I'd pick up a couple of box sets to see what the fuss is about. Sons of Anarchy, seasons 1, 2, and 3. I know there were 7 seasons. These were 10p each, so I thought, well, just give them a go. I haven't started them yet, of course. This is the story of, this is the sort of Hells Angels gang type drama thing. I know it's very well regarded. As it stars Ron Perlman. 13 episodes per season. The discs aren't in a fantastic position, a bit scruffed up, but I'm not too bothered about that. And at some point, I will set to having a look at them to see what they're like. That's Sons of Anarchy, seasons 1 to 3. Next up, now I'm not sure if I mentioned these two in my last video, and I'm too lazy to go back and check, so apologies if I did, and indulge me while I show you them again. This is Cuban Fury. This is a quirky and unusual rom-com starring Nick Frost, Rashida Jones, Chris O'Dowd and Ian McShane. I like Nick Frost. I like, obviously, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, even The World's End has been rehabilitated slightly. I'm not sure he's leading man material. He's done stuff where he's been a leading man. It doesn't really work. I think he's better as a sort of a sidekick. That sort of character. But this is quite good fun. This is directed by James Griffiths, and it's a story about this underconfident, out-of-shape chap who's a big fan of salsa music, and he goes to a salsa dance class to reignite his Latin fire. It's good-natured, it's good humour, it's good fun, and it was about 50p, so I thought, why not? I also picked up this one, and again, apologies if these two have appeared in the last video. Eye in the Sky, with Helen Mirren, Aaron Paul, the late Alan Rickman. Directed by Gavin Hood. This is from 2015. This is the story of what happens when a drone attack in the Middle East goes wrong and has terrible consequences. Really edge of the seat thriller. I've only watched this once. I will watch it again because it was a really good film. And of course, you can't go wrong with Miss Mirren. She's one of our better actresses, one of our best actresses even. So yeah, I'll pick up that one as well. Again, I might have mentioned those two in a previous video, but if I did, apologies. This was a charity shop pickup last Friday. The House at the End of the Street, a horror film starring Jennifer Lawrence, J-Lo. This is from 2011. I think I've seen this, but I'm not sure. It sounds fairly generic about this woman and her mother, this girl and her mother who move into this house at the end of the street. And there's something strange going on with one of the neighbours, whose neighbour's got a secret past. Yeah, a fairly routine sort of slasher horror film, but for 99p I thought, yep, want to bung in the collection, certainly. The next two I found in a shop I stumbled across in Tredegar in South Wales. If you're in South Wales, excuse me, there's a shop in Tredegar. I had to go to Tredegar for certain reasons last week, and I found a shop called, I think it's called Band on the Box, which is an unusual title, but it's a nice little shop. It's a sort of the window is full of Funko Pops, which put me off immediately because I can't stand those damn things. But I wandered inside, and the guy in there, unfortunately, the shop's not doing brilliantly, so he's thinking of upping sticks and just going online, which is the way with these things. But he got a massive collection of Blu-rays, DVDs, memorabilia, books, comics, and all sorts of stuff. A lot of it's half price at the moment, so we had a good old chat, and I went through his stuff and decided to pick up a few bits and pieces. Picked up a Disney classic, the original Peter Pan. Apologies for the glare. Yeah, Peter Pan, of course, a bit 10 a penny these days. You get umpteen Hook films and Pan and Wendy and God knows what. But this is the original Disney classic. One disc release. Going way back to, I can't think when it came out, in the 1950s. But it's a great film. Yeah, really nice little film to have on Blu-ray. This was £6. I got it for £3 because of the half price sale. Or was it? No, it's £4. I got it for £2. The other one I got is a film by Stanley Donen, Charade, starring Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn, a classic old film in the style of Alfred Hitchcock. In fact, I always thought it was a Hitchcock film, but it isn't. One of the classic thrillers. Nice to have on Blu-ray. This was £6. Got it for £3. So yeah, they're good condition. So and I didn't mind paying a bit more than you'd pay in a charity shop because you're supporting a local business, which I think is rather nice. Right, that's the DVDs and Blu-rays that I picked up. A few CDs. In fact, there were two more DVDs, come to think of it. I picked up this one Inside Out. There were 3 for 50p in another charity shop. And this, I've never seen this. I think I watched the beginning of it, but wasn't too. I'm a bit sort of picky when it comes to animated stuff. There's some I can cope with, some I'm not fussed with. And some of the Pixar stuff is a little bit twee for me. This seemed a little bit twee, but I'll probably go back to it, and it was effectively 33.5p. This one I was quite pleased to get. I've got this already, but not in the box. This is Ghost Stories, a collection of the BBC's 1970s Ghost Stories for Christmas, a strand that they've resurrected recently thanks to Mark Gatiss. This is 3 of the classics from 1976, The Signalman, 1977, Stigma, and 1978, The Ice House. So it's a nice little set. It's got a booklet. I've already got this as a review disc, which I was sent for Starburst magazine, but it just came with the disc and a photocopy of the cover. So it's quite nice to have it, the actual proper version of it. Right, those are the DVDs. Let's go on now to the CDs, because I am back into CDs. I went to a charity shop in Pontypridd, man, last week. I haven't moved around. I bought over Christmas, just after Christmas, I won't show it to you at the moment, but it's a nice DAB radio and CD combo unit because I'm in the cinema room. Sometimes it's nice to come and just have a read and have a bit of music. So I thought I'd have the radio and a CD player because I do like the CDs. I've got hundreds of them, haven't played any for ages, and I really should. And I have bought a couple recently. I bought Rod Stewart's latest album, Don't Judge Me, in a sale in HMV. I bought the latest Coldplay, and I just like music on CD. I'm old school that way. Of course, back in the day when CDs came out, I would say I'm old school, I like vinyl, but I still like the CDs. So I picked up a few from a charity shop. I picked 4 up for £1. I'm a big fan of Queen and Freddie Mercury, but I realised, to my horror, I don't actually have any Queen albums apart from the first 2 greatest hits. I thought I had to put that right when I saw these 2. These are The Works from 1984, which of course includes the classic. They're sort of, I'm not going to call it a comeback album, but it was the album that put them back after a couple of quiet years. It's got Radio Gaga, It's a Hard Life, I Want to Break Free, Hammer to Fall, Is This the World We Created? So it's like a mini greatest hits in itself. It's a great album. And then from 1989, it's The Miracle, which includes The Miracle, I Want It All, Invisible Man, Breakthrough, Scandal. So lots of hits on this one too, with some extra tracks, including the Invisible Man 12-inch version. So I've got a couple of the later Queen albums, and I will be looking out to get some of the other ones as well, because you can't beat a bit of Freddie. I also picked this one up, the Ultimate 80s, a 2-disc selection of 80s classics. I've got umpteen 80s albums. I used to work as a DJ many years ago. I've still got lots of my discs. 80s compilations are sort of 10 a penny, but this is quite a nice one to have around the house. It's got Robert Plant, Black, Police, Fleetwood Mac, Elton John, Dexys, New Order, Yazoo, all the obvious 80s hits, but it's a nice 2-disc selection in good condition. I also bought, I haven't got it here at the moment because I think it's in the machine, a collection of Monkees hits. Mike Nesmith passed away recently. The Monkees, this sounds a bit scandalous, I know, they were my Beatles. I was never a huge Beatles fan, but I love the sort of bubblegum pop of the Monkees. Daydream Believer, Pleasant Valley Sunday, I'm a Believer, Last Train to Class, all great pop songs, and a lot of them are collected on this little budget album which I picked up. I've got a greatest hits album somewhere in my collection, but this is just a nice little one to have. It's got a selection of some of their better sort of B-sides and album tracks as well. So yeah, nice little pickup to go with the other three, which I bought for £1 for 4. You can't go far wrong. 10p each from a charity shop on Friday. Decade in the Sun, the first hits of the Stereophonics, one of the great enduring Welsh sort of pub rock bands. Had countless hits. They're still around now, of course, the way the charts work today. They don't get hits anymore, but they still release good material. This is, their imperial phase, if you like, with Dakota, which was their only #1 hit, The Bartender and the Thief, Just Looking, Have a Nice Day, Pick a Part That's New, my own personal favourite, I Wouldn't Believe Your Radio. It's just a nice collection of sort of classics, tracks by the Stereophonics. This is still sealed. This is from 2001. It's an old Elton John album called Songs from the West Coast. We all like a bit of Elton. He's had a bit of a comeback last year with that track he had with Dua Lipa, and his album, The Lockdown Sessions, has done very well. This is one of his sort of, albums that came and went fairly quickly, but it includes the I Want Love, which you might remember the video's got Robert Downey Jr. in it, and The Train Won't Stop Here Anymore. That wasn't a very big hit, but I like a bit of Elton, and it's nice to discover some new Elton material. Let's look at some books. We have some books too, and we'll go through those. Another charity shop pickup, which I was very pleased to find. This was a couple of weeks ago, I think, in a charity shop in Cardiff. It's John Christopher's Tripods collection. Now, some of you will probably remember the Tripods TV series that the BBC launched in the 80s as a sort of a successor for Doctor Who, which they felt was getting a bit tired, based on the Tripods trilogy, which were 3 books that came out in the 60s called The White Mountains, City of Golden Lead, Pool of Fire. I mean, shamelessly derivative of H.G. Wells, with these tripod creatures that had taken over the earth. Young people were capped at puberty, so they were sort of subjugated by these aliens so they wouldn't rise up against them. It was a TV series. Historically, the TV series is my sort of introduction to world of journalism, because I went on a set visit to the second series just after the first series aired in 1984. A friend of mine, we were sort of finding our way into sort of genre journalism, which was new at the time. And a friend of mine had contacted the BBC and got himself a set visit to the Tripods, but he couldn't go because he was going on holiday. So I stepped in and covered this location filming near Hereford, which was quite interesting. And I was reading the books at the time. Haven't read them since. I've still got them somewhere, but this is a nice collection that was published. I think this was reprinted, 2014, so fairly recent. Nice new covers, so it's not connected to the TV series. The books are in pretty good condition. I don't even know if they've been written. I think they were bought and just put on a shelf, so they got slightly yellowed. But it's new editions of those 3 original books, The White Mountains, City of Golden Lead, Pool of Fire, which I haven't read for years, and they're not massively long books. They're sort of 230 odd pages, medium-sized prints. I should fly through those again. It'd be nice to catch up with those again. But this has also got a book which I used to have and I got rid of ages ago. It's not very good. This was the prequel book, which John Christopher, who's sadly no longer with us, I think it was published, it might have been published in 2014. I don't know, it feels like... No, sorry, 1988, in fact. Wow. Yeah, it would have been Come to Think of It, yeah. This is called When the Tripods Came. This is the prequel story that he wrote, explaining how the tripods came to Earth and how they took over by subverting Earth technology. It's not as good as the tripods, of course, because that was of its time, but this is still interesting. It's 197 pages, it's not a massively long book. But yeah, nice to have. I like the box. The box illustration is nice, and it's one that's nice to have on the shelf because I do like those. You know, I just have that sort of recollection of the books from when I was reading them to do this location vision. I remember I've not read the books, and I was sort of speedily reading them before I went on location, so I knew what I was talking about. And I think at the time I was reading the second one. A bit of a bugger to get back in the box, so I'll put them over there for now. I've also got this book, which is published, printed by Amazon. This is called Moths by Jane Hennigan, rather. This is an independently published post-apocalypse book about a strain of moths that hatches, causes chaos by turning men into crazed killers. I was recommended this by a friend of mine on the quiz team I go to every Tuesday night. She works in the TV industry, is very interesting to talk to. And we talk about books and things. And she mentioned this book and suggested I might like it and track it down. So I did. I was going to Kindle it, but I prefer the hard copy. So I picked this up from Amazon for about £9. Apparently it's a sort of a feminist post-apocalyptic book, which sort of makes me a bit wary because I'm a man. Although I understand the issues with feminism and so on, but when I read these things that are ghettoized a little bit, it's a feminist this, it's a masculine that, you think, no, just tell me a story without an agenda. But I will give this a look. I'm told it's very good, so I will have a look at that very soon. Nearly there. A couple of comic-y things, because there's always a couple of comic-y things. I went to Pontypridd Market a couple of weeks ago, and I picked up, if you know the area, in the market there is a little comic sort of science fiction-y bookshop, sells DVDs, action figures and so on. Nice little place. And I've been in there a couple of times, and I noticed they just had a massive delivery of, or acquired a collection of old comic books from the 70s. A lot of Marvels, a lot of DC, Aquaman, Superman, Batman, Detective Comics. And I thought, these are very nice. And I have been picking up some of these on eBay. A little bit pricey. They were sort of £5 each. And I thought, well, I probably will get some, but not just yet. I did, however, pick up one. There were a few Marvel ones that were £3. I picked up this one, I don't quite know why. Jungle Action with Black Panther, issue number 50. And I've discovered since that this is actually part of an ongoing story. So it's probably not one I can read in isolation. But it's just reaching something else. But for £3, this is one of the Marvel editions that came into the UK in the 70s. It's got a 9p sticker on the front. And I have been collecting some of these things, and I just thought I'd have it. Basically, no other explanation. Let's go back to Triga. Let's go back to Band in the Box. As I said, selling things off for half price. I picked up a couple of comic collections. This is the Essential Kill Raven in black and white. It's a little bit, yellowed, but it's in good condition. The spine is nice and solid. This, going back to the Tripods and War of the Worlds, this was a comic series which postulated an Earth that had actually been invaded by the Martians, and Killraven is like this super soldier who's leading the resistance against them. Ran for several years, I think, in Amazing Adventures comic, eventually gravitated to its own comic. I don't know the history of what happened to the character afterwards, but this is one I haven't read for a very long time, and I will certainly give it a go. It's one of these black and white essential reprint editions. I've picked up a few of those over the last few years. This was 10, I got it for £5. Similarly with this one, Marvel Platinum SpiderMan, the definitive SpiderMan, with strips by Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, John Romita, some of the greats. It's got some of the original, and it has got the original Spider-Man story, of course. Then it's got some later ones coming a little bit more sort of up to date with the stories that I don't find the art quite as compelling. Again, that was £5, and I thought that's a nice one to have because Spider-Man's a bit hot at the moment. Speaking of Spider-Man, for other things that I've picked up, this is the Lizard. You might recall I've been picking up these in very nice conditioned models of. I collected Dr. Eaglemoss ones. They do Marvel, DC, and so on. And I've been collecting the SpiderMan villains. And I was just randomly looking at them a couple of weeks ago. I thought, I've got Lizard. I have to put that right. So I went online, got this for about £6, I think. Nice little, it's not die cast exactly, is it? It's resin or something, I don't know what it is. But it's a very nice little figure of the Lizard, as played by Rhys Ifans in the movies. We are nearly there. Honestly, just 2 more things to go. No, 4 more things to go. 5 more things to go, sorry. Odds and sods now for the collectibles. Gerry Anderson's UFO, as you know, one of my favourite shows. I discovered somebody on eBay is selling little standing little things. Logos of various films. I just must have too much money. This was a few quid. It's the UFO logo set against the moon with Gerry Anderson above it, and it stands in front of my telly and looks quite nice. It's made of wood. Back in the 60s, we used to have sweet cigarettes, little candy tubes that were cigarettes, which were banned, of course, because cigarettes are bad. But they used to do promotions, and they used to sort of do things based on film and TV. I'm talking of UFO. There was a UFO sweet cigarette set which came out, which I had years ago. Can't get them now, or if you can, they're massively overpriced. But I found somebody on eBay who's selling a very good quality replica set for about £3 or £4. So you get a replica of the actual box, UFO sweet cigarettes, and more interestingly, the complete set of cards. Now there's about 70 cards with pictures from all the characters and hardware from UFO, various spaceships and logos and things. Very well reproduced in the original size. Good quality images. They're not naff at all. They've got the text on the back. This is about £5, and it's just a nice little thing to sort of connect me back to my past, which is something that I have been doing over the past few years. Is you know, looking back to happier days when I was a kid. And I think these are just nice little things to have again, to be honest. And that's my excuse, and I'll stick to it. Similarly, this is again from eBay. This is a set of, in fact, these are ice lolly cards. These came with an ice lolly called Stingray, which came out in the 1960s. You can still get Stingrays now. I think they're just called rocket lollies now. You can get them in Asda, and it's basically a rocket with 3 different colours on it. They did a set of Doctor Who cards. I remember these very well. And again, this is a reproduction of them. This is the Doctor, which is a sort of a William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton hybrid, landing on a planet, fighting the Daleks with the help of creatures called astral beetles. And looking through them, there's not actually many pictures of Daleks on there, but it's a nice little thing, nice little set of cards. Again, it's got the original text and the original colours in the back, so it's been very well reproduced. And again, this was on eBay for buttons, really, so I'm quite pleased to have picked those up again. They're just little indulgences. Just, I think as you get older, sometimes you want to reconnect with the past and things that... God, it's just got over the floor. It's nice to reconnect with stuff that you enjoyed when you were a kid. You know, there's more innocent days when you were a kid, and some of these things are just nice to see again. I mean, I appreciate, as I said, they're not the originals, they're facsimiles, but they're very good quality. I mean, look at that. That's a really nice sort of image of Daleks attacking. Yes, I know. Anyway, I got those. Half of them on the floor now. I also picked up, this was again from that shop in Tredegar I mentioned. I saw these were £2, and I have a feeling he just threw them in, because I don't think they were included in the price when I bought everything. These are from, I think, the early 90s. I don't know how collectible they are, but they're rather nice. Fan of Gerry Anderson. This is a collection of 66 cards. I'm assuming it's 22 each, with colour images and, again, background text for Stingray, Thunderbirds, and Captain Scarlet. These are originals, they're not reproductions. Nice little collection, as I'm a fan of those shows. I might put them in an album, but probably not. But this was £2, so it would have been £1. But as I said, I think he chucked them in for nothing, because I didn't spend a lot. I spent about 15-20 £. But I think he sort of threw them in because he was glad to have a customer, to be honest. Put them there for now. Last thing, honestly, the last thing. Couldn't resist this. I saw somebody on YouTube doing one of the unboxings of this. This is a facsimile of the original James Bond Aston Martin from Goldfinger. Now, I had this as a kid. long since gone. I've got the silver reproduction one, which came out a bit later. I've still got that lurking around somewhere. In fact, it's on display on my shelf over there. But I saw somebody unbox this. Oh, that's really nice. It's really nice facsimile. It's got all the bits and pieces. It's about 70 quid. I thought, I don't want to pay that for it. So I looked on Amazon, where it was 40 quid. So I ordered it. And I thought, well, I'll have a look and see if anybody's got it on eBay, where I found it for 26 quid. So I cancelled the Amazon order, bought it off eBay, and it's lovely. It is the James Bond Aston Martin. It's in a beautiful facsimile box, which I will open for you so you can see it. I haven't actually looked at it very much myself yet. I don't want to damage the box. I just damaged the box. There we are. It comes out. It's got a beautiful replica of the sort of display tray that the car came in, with all the illustrations on the back. It's got all the working features. It's got the machine guns at the front, which come out. You press the buttons on the side, they come out like that. It's got the bulletproof shielding thing at the back. It's got the ejector seat, of course. It's got the ejector seat. At the bottom there, I haven't opened it up yet. There's a little pouch which has got instructions, and it's got the little henchman that you put for the ejector seat at the bottom. So that was nice to have. I say 26 quid. I probably won't do much except put it on display, but it's a nice little item. And again, I remember having that when I was a kid. Right, that is finally it. That's what I bought in the last month or so. It's a hell of a lot of stuff. Today is the 24th of January. I'll be getting in the post today Doctor Who Flux on Blu-ray, which is released today, but I'm sure you don't necessarily need me to display that. I've also had in the post today, and I meant to bring them with me, 3 old comics that a friend of mine who lives in Brighton sent me. Classic comics, one with Steve Ditko art in it. Of course, Steve Ditko, as I mentioned, did some of the early SpiderMan stuff. He had a fascination with gorillas, apparently, and this new collection has got his versions of Congo and Gorgo, two of the great monster movies of the 60s. But I won't show you those now, obviously, because I haven't brought them with me. Right, that's the stuff I've bought in the last month. I do apologise, this has gone on about 25 minutes, shouldn't have. Lots of stuff, as you can see. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to press the like and subscribe button. That would be awfully nice of you. And tell your friends. There is a retro movie review coming up very soon. Plus other bits and pieces. As I've said in an earlier video, not as frequently as perhaps in the past, but I'll be doing a couple of things a week, hopefully, in going forward. Right, that's me done that for now. Till I see you next time. You know what they say. You've got to keep taking the stuff.